record. Welcome to Perfect, exactly right. Yay to this week's art jam. And Rodine and I have just been having a little bit of a giggle because we're trying to remember what the topic was. Even
Perfect, exactly right. Yay.
So, see, I thought I was ready. I'm so sorry, Chantal. I do this all the time.
I know.
You would think I'd have the system worked out.
Oh, exactly right. But no, and also mobiles can do funny things. And what we were laughing about was the actual topic we wanted to talk about. Does practice make perfect in art? So we were trying to work it out, and Rodine, you came up with, does perfection make perfect in art? And in fact that's actually accurate too. So we've been having a giggle here. This is why we love, we do love, I'll speak us, the royal we, love doing these art jams, because even though sometimes the topics are, can be intense or can be, I don't know, what other word can we use? Can be...
Well, I mean, I think they're just real. Really. They're just real.
Yeah, that's right. And we can have a giggle. And Pam, there you are. Hi, Pam. Lovely to see you. Here? I'm glad you're here with us. So anyone else is here, let us know. And I think so. And I think that's why I love these conversations, because even though they're real and we talk about interesting topics, or that can be a bit more challenging, there's also laughter, because they say laughter is good medicine. They say, and it can often break the intensity of things, and that's why I thought this morning. And for me, it's always a great way to, for me in the morning, great way to start the day, for you to end your day.
My weekend, my day, yeah.
Your weekend, your day, and here we go. So anyone's got thoughts on practice makes perfection? And I don't know what, it came to me yesterday, and when I was creating some art, oh my goodness, Rodine, your sacred conversation with me, which everyone is on the YouTube, about what we call it behind the scenes, about what makes an artist or whatever, has been absolutely eye-opening for me. It's completely changed the way I do my art.
I love that.
Yeah, you're telling me too.
See, and you know what? And that's so funny. That's interesting, because I often think I don't really have anything to share with people, right? I don't really have any wisdom, because I'm just doing my thing. So right. I love hearing that.
Yeah. And thank you. And I think that's another thing, you made a good point there. I'm just doing my thing. And because something comes easily to us, you, me, whoever, we think it's not that, whatever. But to someone else, like to me, what freed me most about this was, and this comes back to the perfection part, also, I want always the end result before I've even started. I've got to feel that I can do it immediately. So there was that. And then the other thing you said, you enjoy the process of setting up. And I know I keep talking about it. I have completely changed everything around when I come now into the studio, art studio. I love preparing. Who would have thought?
Look at that.
Look at that. And not only that, practicing. See, I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to know how to do a leaf. I wanted to know how to do, all this stuff. No, what I learned, and I bought a couple of courses, and of course I was jumping to the end bit. Bit of ego in there, not sure, but I think
to see what yours is going to look like.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And of course, I'm going to be able to create it by copying them. Again, I laugh about it now. I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed by saying it, but it's like I go to the pool and do my, K laps, 20 laps, but I want to be the end. And I noticed that also has been a response, somehow a trauma response, when I've been looking at that, is perfection keeping me safe, looking at the end, rather than having the comfort of just going with it.
Do you think that's a part of the reaction, simply because the middle part is the messy middle, the ugly middle bits, and you want to go from I'm here and I'm excited and I just want to get to the end, because I don't want to have to hit those speed bumps in the middle. Like, let's just jump.
And I think that's a really good point. And I think also you've just given me food for thought too, as always. in our society where we want everything now, we want results now, we want everything now,
Yeah.
healing now, everything, you know, we now have an email, you know, you send it out, I want the response now. In the old days, you sent a letter, particularly if you lived abroad, it could take 10 days. You know, my father caught the ship out from France to Australia, it took 6 weeks with big trunks, you know. So we've changed everything. So yes, I think that's a good point. And we don't like the messy bit. Oh, look what Pam, a young woman wrote to me and claimed, I'm just a nobody photographer. I had to tell her there's no just about that. Exactly. She takes pictures of the sky and it is a skill.
Oh
I know
God,
I'd
yeah.
love to do better at that. I shared with her as best practice, drop the just, and she took it seriously. We're talking about business stuff. And I think you're exactly right, Pam. And that's why these conversations are great, because I know that life teaches me art, but art is also teaching me life. You know, and it's coming back to the business. I'm now created a podcast with my co-host Ange. I'm so excited. But what put me off was that I didn't want to go back to the basics again. You know, I feel like I've done a lot of that. Same with the den. Whereas Ange has experience, so she's taken me to this level, but she's getting me to practice how to do the tech side. But she's actually holding back, and it's nice. So I can go through that messy bit with someone holding my hand. It's like with the healing,
Awesome.
I had the therapist to hold my hand when I was in that messy bit. You know,
Pam is actually doing the same for me. She's got more tech savvy, and so I'm starting as a total newbie because I avoid it like the plague. Because it does weird things to me, and I go, I don't know what to do with this. But she is doing the same thing for me, helping me with the tech. She's very comfortable with it. She knows it. And it's amazing to know. It's like we know we can get there, but having that person that is going to be there and walk you through it and get you there through that messy middle bit is fantastic. Like it's huge.
You know what? And you're so right. And you've just, again, I agree, because I do art on my own, which you do, but I'm not I'm say advanced as you. And I mean that because you've been doing it for how many years now? 25 or something?
25-ish.
Yeah, so I've got a few more years to catch up. But anyhow, that's not the point. But what I'm realizing is, even though I love being on my own and I have bought some online courses, it's not the same as I literally just watch. I don't have anyone to talk to, share. Yes, my partner, you know, he's at work at the moment. He does help me a bit, but I can see now the value of face to face. You know, someone saying, oh, perhaps hold, you know, or do this, or just have you thought about that? So practice, I think there's different ways. So I'm practicing. So I'm going to share what I did. I did sit down and do leaves. And my God, I had a ball. Absolute ball doing that.
You're beautiful. I love that color palette.
Yeah, so you know, it is. For the first time I used gouache, and what I'm also learning, which you know from you've teaching me, you know, from your lights, is leaves, for example, are all different colors. And I just got this very, oh no, I haven't got the, it's a Monet art, and I used, I think it was this blue, and I combined it with a green, and then I put a bit of yellow. So what she's showing is how to do all the different combinations. So again, it's practice. At least now I'm not making mud every time. You know,
You haven't made mud in a very, very long time, my friend.
no, I haven't. Exactly right. Haven't got caught in the mud either. So yeah, so why I'm sharing with you that is, when I was doing it, again, it was really interesting what goes through. Happy to help, Rodine, says Pam. Isn't that gorgeous? I play. And that's it. It is about playing. When we got the internet, I felt like a kid with a toy box. Oh my God, it's so fun in many ways. Oh, well, Pam, that's why we love you, because I'm like Rodine. We are all learning. That's right. New things all the time these days, with everything changing the way it is. That's exactly right. And it realized you need to have the ability to have the flexibility in your mind. And see, I didn't have that for quite a few years. I couldn't. Because I needed to constantly protect myself, feel safe. So all this new stuff was just discombobulating for me. It was overwhelming, you know, and I couldn't see what you're saying, Pam, is to play. Now I'm a lot better, you know. And see, when I first did this, it was interesting. So again, was like I had to really work with my critical side, that ego. Oh, they're not perfect. They're not this again, you know? So
Yeah.
does practice make perfection? I don't know if it ever. What is perfection? This is perfection.
It is.
You know, that's what I had to say to myself. This is perfect. When Willem came down, my partner, and looked at it, when I was able to see it from a distance, went, "Wow, wow." At least I go, "Wow" to myself.
Well, yeah, you have to go wow to yourself.
We do.
And you do have to step back from what you're creating to really get a good look at it. And that's funny. That's one of the first things I teach my students with their art. When they come to me and say, is this good? Is there something something else I need to do? I take it, hold it, and I step back and I tell them, art is meant to be viewed from farther away. So when I hold it back here, what do you see? Like, what do you notice about your art? And they will say, oh. And they will then go, oh, well, I've noticed over here. And I'll say, yeah. So what do you think you could do to just make that pop out a little bit? So it's a really nice way to get them to realize that when we have our face right here and we're working, that's not what you're going to see.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like life too, right? When you're focused on a goal and your head's down and you're doing the things, step back and take a look, because that's going to give you a more accurate view.
Yes. And oops, mine's just gone off because that's just, oh, here we are. Pam says, I'm satisfied when the thing I draw looks like what I wanted to draw. That's right, Pam, I'm not there yet. So this is why I've got to keep practicing, because it's nothing what I wanted. But what I'm learning now is, and Pam, that's a really good point. I'm learning in a way not to have anything in my mind at this point, because it never comes out that way. You know, I'm just allowing it to come through. I might have a vague thing, but now I've let go, because otherwise what I then did, again, oh, I'm not good enough, see, it doesn't work, and I don't know how to translate this to this, you know. So again, I've had to really turn that around. And also a course that I did years ago, and I suppose I've seen it now since, what the art teachers say is, like you said, particularly if you've got a big canvas and you're just doing more splashing paint on or whatever, turn it round and see it from different angles. And I liked that.
Yeah, that's cool.
They do look like leaves. Thank you. Yeah, I can see that from here. Thank you. This was, yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so it's interesting how that perfection comes in, and I want to let go of that practice. But it's again, it's like music. You've got to do the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's like when you do language. I am, you are, he is, je suis, tu es, il est, you know, ich bin, du bist, er ist, you know, all those sort of things. And when we went into high school and I was living in Switzerland, no, at that time, we still learnt Latin. So that Latin gave the base. So there was a lot of practice. That gave the basis of my languages, you know, and we had to go through, oh, God. And at the time, you know, you're 14 and you're thinking, really?
When am I going to use this?
That's exactly right. But, you know, again, it's that practice. And it's that foundation, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and does practice make perfect in anything? Probably not. And it's, I was at my daughter's house last night. I went to go see the fam and the grandbabies, and her mother-in-law, my son-in-law's mom, stays with them, lives with them, and she provides care for the youngest. They couldn't find daycare, so she's there. And my grandson was doing some artwork this morning, or was it this morning or last night? Anyway, he was doing something, and he was talking about practicing, and he was saying, look, I've gotten better. I've been practicing. And Anita said, yeah, and practice makes better. And I thought, how funny, because you had sent that saying, let's talk about this. And she said, yep, and practice makes better. And I thought, I love that.
So I'm going to write that down.
Right?
Yes.
Practice makes better.
Love that. Talk about my whole body just went, ah.
Right? Yeah.
Love it. Because in that better what I got this sense of you can be you, it allows you to explore, create, and like Pam said, play, because
Yeah.
a lot of us forget to play, and children play,
Mhm.
children play, they just sit down
They
and play.
do.
Yes, when I get this age, I don't know if I said this before. When my niece was young, I mean, she could create art, 4 or 5, and she was just sitting on the floor, and Auntie was sitting there with her, and I was doing something very, rigid and stilted and whatever. She turned and says to me, as 4-year-olds do, "Oh, not bad, Auntie." Thanks.
And she was probably thinking, you're so stiff, Auntie. You need to like play, liven it up, have fun.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, but I look at that now, and it was so true, because it through her eyes, yes, whatever I was doing, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't sort of whatever. That's how I interpret it. That was for me. So it was
Yeah.
really, really quite
Aw.
funny.
Oh,
And
that's so
she's just
sweet.
now had her own baby, and I'm looking forward to doing some art with, hopefully with her if she has the
Mhm.
time, and with the baby when she's a little bit older, the little one, and see what comes up then, whether I'll notice a difference in my art again. I look at, and it's interesting, because I was thinking about perfection, because it's the first time I ever had a baby on my chest. That was huge, because I haven't had children, but that's for another story. And she is perfection, the little one. So see, she is perfection.
Mhm.
At this point, it's just everything about her is just delicious. Not biased, of course.
Mhm.
So again, you got it's that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but for me at the moment, she's perfection, and I'm just in completely. I only saw her Thursday. God, I thought about weeks. Can I come today? I'll drop everything. I'll come and play.
I can
I'll
be
do my.
there in 5 minutes.
That's exactly right. Get the
Yeah.
magic carpet out and off we go. So again, but it's so coming back to that was a bit of a segue, as we do. It's hard to break the internet. Go ahead and play. It's true. It is true. It is true. And Pam, I'm learning that you might be able to lose some stuff, but yes, you can't break the internet. No, it is. And I think it's also taking this into running a business, because Roddy and I have also been talking about how do we run a business, and how do we do it? Do we want to do it that way? We're meant to. Or how can, yeah, perfect, exactly right. Because if you do it this way,
Yeah.
you will gain this result, that result. Really? Well, no, because none of us we're all individuals. We all have ways of doing our things. So how can we be fit into this cookie cutter way of doing it? And how much money, I don't know, I've lost going from one coach to another, trying to find that perfection.
The formula.
The formula. That's right. The formula that will get me that result.
Mm-hmm.
Then as a consequence, feeling a failure because I didn't get that result.
Yeah.
Or
their formula, their whatever they were teaching was just didn't even feel good or feel right.
Exactly right.
So then
exactly right.
So then it takes away all those things we were just talking about, play and fun, and
yes.
It becomes something that feels restrictive and not so good.
Yes, that's right. I don't know about that, says Pam. I've taken many classes, done what they teach to the best of my ability, and not so much. So I didn't quite understand that, Pam, not so much. But yeah, it is to the best of your ability. And I think you've made a good point, Pam, because I suppose I did it to the best of my ability at the time, but I didn't have the capacity to, because of where I was at with my mental health. Whereas now I have a different sense of, like you said, Rodine, I'm more able to tune in to go, is that right for me? And can I do the best of my ability? And will that person hold me to help me be able to do that? Because we do need to be held when it's something new. I've realized that,
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get the result. Oh, I didn't get results that claimed. I thought that's what you might have said. Yes, that's right. And I think it's that the results they claim, the promises they make, you know, it's because that's what we're drawn into, is that promise that
Yeah.
you'll get this, this, and this. When, you know, that's how I call it. In fact, when they lure you in that way. That for me is the word. They lure you in, you know. And is it out of awareness? Some are, some aren't. 'Cause there's a lot of talk I've been noticing on Facebook about calling some coaches out, or the practice of what they've been taught is that how they lure you in, and then you're not, you know, you can't get those results. I mean, how it's some do, many don't.
Yeah, but there's, I mean, as you were saying, we are such individuals. It's a little bit like, I would think in the, you know, in the world of physical self-improvement, right? So you would find somebody who claims, oh, if you do these exercises, you're going to end up looking like this. Well, but will we? Will we have those same results? We can't, because we're all so different.
Exactly
But
right.
will we probably be better?
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
will.
We will be
Will we
better.
be that? No.
No.
We'll be better, and we'll be a better us,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. We won't be that, but we will be this, which is us. That's it. And I love that. Thank you. And Pam said, I'm very sensitive to outcomes for my audience when I think about the trainings I've taken, which were so lackluster. That's right, Pam. That is it. And that's actually another good point. Because when I've been working with writing my memoir, and Ange, who's helping me looking at how to market what I do, something I'm really aware of, because we're taught to write the benefits, and not the benefits, the outcomes. Or with healing from trauma, or with healing in counseling, how do I know the outcomes? And I found that I can't promise you this, this, and this, because ultimately you come in, it's up to you as well to find what's right for you and what you need to do. I can help you base that foundation on there. Yeah. And which were lackluster. And that's such another good point, because when you're not doing something, well, for me, when I wasn't doing something from my heart and my way, well, a lot of things did, you know, they were lackluster. They were, you know, whereas now there's a whole different energy shift in there. And another thing you said, God, at the moment I'm on fire.
You are.
It's so nice to come back to this. Thank you, to this sense. But also what we are needing to be, in my opinion, aware of is, you don't need to know the history, but when we create programs, and that you can't take it into account, but each individual brings in their history, brings in their personality. Now, you can't always, I know you can't cater for that, but how can we hold the space and not make those promises? Or do it in a different way? So I don't know. It's just conversation, because I have no solution for that either, you know. And I like Pam. I think, you know, a lot of from what I gather, coaches haven't always been sensitive. They just bring you in, and then that's it, you know. So
yeah, and I mean, you and I have talked about this as well, about and I think whether it's a coach or whatever it is that you are promoting or you're offering, right? If you're bringing people in, and you might be offering value, but then there's that phrase, and I've heard it in the past, and there were a few people that like to use this, and I always felt it very confronting and affronting, right? And that's the whole, well, you know, I work, oh, it's the action takers.
yes,
Action takers.
yes,
And right in that, there's, for me, that automatically kind of, I don't know. It set me back a bit, because it's like, well, wait a second. What the heck? And so if you're not doing everything exactly as they say and whatever, then they'll be happy to just keep your money, and they don't offer anything else, right?
that's right. And I'm
So,
going to state it. I find that it's judgmental. It's a put down. It's an assumption. How do they know whether you're not taking action?
and that's and that's the thing, right? Often, especially if you really are invested with someone and you really are invested in yourself, there's a lot of the action is internal stuff
Yes,
to help us get to that place of
exactly right.
external stuff, right?
Exactly right.
And so it's not, I mean, yeah. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, and I think it is a topic we will most probably keep coming back to, even though we won't be able to resolve it. But it's again, it's just, I know for me, it's just wanting to highlight my experience and you're highlighting yours to give others food for thought, you know, to say perhaps you're not alone, you're not the only one, you're not the only one who's felt this and might be ashamed of not achieving the way you meant to and the money that you spent to do all that. We are action takers. And what I learned was, again, when I finally went back to the therapist psychologist a few years ago to ask her, how did trauma affect my running my business? Oh my God, my whole world opened up. No wonder it wasn't working the way it was. Now, it wasn't an excuse, but it was just an understanding.
Yeah.
Then I could start breathing. So that's why this year, this is why I'm excited. I'm back to, well, in a different way, to who I was before the car accident 15 years ago. And things are happening, yet I'm different. You know, it's just wonderful. I'm no longer being caught up in the SMART goals and in the law of attraction. And that works for many people. And it also doesn't work for many people. And it didn't work for me. But I got caught, you know, in that. Now it's just like, here I am, and things are happening in the most exquisite way and unexpected ways. Because you know, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah. Well, I think that is ultimately what, like you mentioned, the law of attraction. I think that's ultimately what it is. It's just coming into our own vibration and trusting and doing in our way that works best for us and allowing and fixing your inner stuff. I mean, that's what law of attraction is.
It is. And I think you just said coming into our own vibration. That's right.
Yeah.
And it might be for some like, well, what is your own vibration? That's right. And that's what takes time. Again, practice. We can figure it takes practice. To understand, to go through, to work through, to tune in. What is my vibration? And of course, the clearer your vibration becomes, of course, as you said, things start to come. And it's not just about mindset. It's also about tuning into the body, you know?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So all of that. So, oh my goodness. Guess what? We've already done half an hour yet again. And we could go on. So
That's
anyone
not
who
a
has
surprise.
who's come back to replay or wants to put something else or on YouTube, any comments, love to hear. Let's keep the conversation going because it's always, I find, and so does Rodine, so I always share, because I've gone to my YouTube, I always share with Rodine these ideas because there's always something new, perspective, learning, ahas that we enjoy receiving as well. Thank you, Rodine. Thank you to our listeners and look forward to seeing you. Thank you. And see you next week. Bye.